What's up, guys? Cliff here from Not Gospel Studios. Just how bad is the state of American politics right now? I would say that if people had to be instructed to applaud their sitting president, maybe that's an indicator that things are kind of circling the toilet bowl.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi forced to remind the audience to applaud while celebrating the Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act at the White House. Watch.
Mr. President, thank you for unifying and inspiring a vision of a stronger, fairer, safer future for all, for our children. Your extraordinary leadership has made this glorious day possible. That's an applause line.
Now, if you're like me and this feels like the cringiest moment you've seen in politics in a while here in America, that's because it is. You're sitting at a largely Democrat event in front of a largely Democrat audience, and you have to instruct your audience to applaud for their president, the president that they voted in, that 81 million Americans voted for. It does seem pretty expected that this kind of thing would happen because Joe Biden does happen to have the lowest approval rating of any sitting president in a long time. This whole gathering that they had was to celebrate the Inflation Reduction Act, which raises taxes on the middle class to decrease inflation in the middle of a recession. And as we have stated on this channel over and over before, so many times, time and time again, the Democrats have stated in previous years that you should never raise taxes for any reason during a recession. And we are in a recession, according to what is the common and traditionally known definition of the word. I know in the current state of our culture and the political climate, people tend to make up definitions and reinvent things as they will, like the definition of a woman, perhaps. In my opinion, the reason that they have to do this, that Nancy Pelosi has to remind people to applaud Joe Biden on his accomplishments, is because nobody likes him. There's nothing likable about this president. Now, he doesn't have the active haters that a big, bolsterous personality like Trump had. And Trump, in my opinion, earned a lot of those haters with some of his less than presidential tweets and some of his less than presidential behaviors. But there's nothing likable about Joe Biden. There's nothing much there. There's nothing to hate or not to hate. The guy can barely string two sentences together. He reads every single word off the teleprompter. He forgets where he's at. He's not an inspiration. He's not an alpha male. The only person he probably inspires is like retirees and people of retirement age and beyond, and gives them hope that they too can run the country. I'm not trying to be over the top mean to this addled grandpa. I'm just trying to be real as an American citizen who votes. This is the guy that 81 million Americans wanted to vote for. This super cringy moment and celebration of the Inflation Reduction Act also comes off the heels of Uncle Joe telling the world that half of his country, 75 million Americans, the MAGA Americans, are extremists who represent a threat to democracy. Is this the same grandfatherly good guy that during his inaugurational speech talked about unifying America and how he doesn't look at them as blue and red states, but instead looks at them as the United States? I don't think it's possible to be more hypocritical than that. In one breath, you want to unify America. In the other breath, you want to label 75 million Americans as extremists. Sorry, it's a cake and eat it too scenario. You can't have it. Are we living in America where half the population or close to it are extremists? I don't think so. But yet these are the narratives we're being told. If questioning election results makes you an extremist, then even our press secretary is an extremist. Watch.
You tweeted in 2016
I knew this
Trump
was coming.
stole an election.
I was waiting, Peter, when you were going to ask me that question.
Well, great. Here we go. You tweeted Trump stole an election. You tweeted Brian Kemp stole an election. If denying election results is extreme now, why wasn't
So
it then?
let's be really clear. That comparison that you made is just ridiculous. I have been. Well, you're asking me a question. Yes. Let me answer it.
And you said it was ridiculous.
I was talking specifically at that time of what was happening with voting rights.
If you're only an extremist when you question election results when Democrats win, but you're due a promotion when you question election results when a Republican wins, there's something fishy going on, obviously. We don't often get too political on this channel, but all I'm asking for is for people to think a little bit, to use their minds a little bit. If you're a centrist or a Democrat, if you voted blue in the past or you have voted independent, I would just ask that you take a look at what you're being told by the current regime and by the establishment and use your mind. Think for yourself. Don't be as dumb as they think you are. Joe Biden thinks he can just tell you that half of America are extremists, and you'll just buy it without any evidence, without any credibility. They did the same thing for 4 years. For 4 long years, they propagated the Russia collusion narrative. Rachel Maddow and CNN, they propagated this narrative, and they inflamed 50% of the population, making them feel like the election was stolen. We come to find out now that that was a steaming brown bag pile of crap, that there was nothing to that was all a hoax, and we just move right on, as if that doesn't change our perspective. It's not really a shocker to me that Aunt Pelosi has to hit the applause button now for Grandpa Joe. Let's be fair. He's not likable. There's nothing exciting or inspiring about him. Other countries make fun of him. He's not intimidating in the least. And make no mistake, other countries do judge the character and the power and the authority and the presence of your country on the global scale by your leaders. They absolutely do. And this was a big problem that people had with Trump. They said people are going to judge our country and think that we're racists and bigots and xenophobic and all this stuff, all the things that Hillary Clinton and AOC, all of them said. They're going to think we're that because Trump represents us and we've lopped him in with all of that. Again, if you're going to virtue signal as to why Trump can't be president or shouldn't be our president because he represents us, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That man, Joe Biden, represents America. And when he stands up like Red Skull or some kind of evil comic book villain in front of a red backdrop, declaring that 50% of his people represent extremist threats to democracy, and simultaneously forgets his lines, reads every line off the teleprompter, and stumbles over words and joins words all together where you can't really understand what he's saying, you can't expect the world to take him or your country seriously. You just can't. If history has taught us anything, it's that the totalitarian governments are the ones who have painted the political opposition as the evil, extremist people. But Joe Biden seems so harmless and incompetent that you never could call him a tyrant. If you call Joe Biden a tyrant, people are just going to laugh at you and say, this harmless old man that probably can't even tie his shoes by himself, gets lost in the bushes in a small trip around the White House. That guy's not a tyrant. You're crazy. You're one of these crazies. Well, you're probably right. This addled grandpa isn't really a tyrant, but he has no business in the White House. Anyways, that's my political soapbox for the day. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I hope you use your mind. I hope you're a free thinker. I hope you achieve the goals you set for yourself this day. And if you like this and you want more content like this, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and keep being awesome, because that's how God made you. If you enjoyed this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other videos that you can find here, subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy and vegan and all of those things. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.